Hello and welcome to Pickle TV. I'm your host, Amanda Kowski, Gary's daughter. I'm here visiting some family and Gary's asked me if I would host some episodes of Pickle TV, so here I am. Now, if you found our show on Facebook, YouTube, or any other video sharing site, please check out our website at www.pickle.tv. It's the place to find all the videos Gary will record from all the conferences he will attend. If you like this show and these conferences, please tell your friends about Pickle TV. You may also think about subscribing if you really like it. Now in this episode, I'm bringing you another speaker from the Emerging Tech Conference that was held in Dallas, Texas during June 2012. If you're not familiar with the Emerging Tech Conference, you should really check out their website at www.etcdallas.com. On this episode, I'm bringing you Patty Farmer. Her presentation is expert tips for using Klout. Let's watch it now.
We're going to talk about Klout. Discover and recognize for how you influence the world. So first of all, how many of you are already thinking, really, another social media platform? Do I or do I not want a Klout and add that to my thing? So go ahead. How many of you are here thinking that? Not bad. I'm actually really pleased. Okay, so how many of you consider yourselves an expert in your field? Good. How many of you consider yourself an authority? How many of you know the difference? Okay, I want to tell you. So, an expert, if you're an expert in your industry, that means that you have expertise in whatever it is that you do. But an authority means that not only do you have that expertise, but you influence others too. So, that's kind of where Klout comes in. I love that about Klout, and I have to tell you, it's one of my favorite. But I think the reason why, for me, it's one of my favorites is because I'm all about strategy. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm just going to do a few seconds on the how-tos to get everybody up to speed, but then we're really going to get into the strategy of why you should use it and how you should use it and what it's going to do for you. Uh-oh. Maybe you're doing that. Okay, maybe I am using your things.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, man. Okay. That's good. Okay, so first one we're going to talk about is your Klout score. So your Klout score, and for those of you who know, even if you're not on Twitter and you're not doing it, you have a Klout score. You have it whether you want it or not. Twitter and all them, everything you tweet, whatever you're doing, Klout pulls that information from all of your social media sites. So you have a Klout score whether you're on Klout or not. So you know. How does it do it? True reach. How many people are you influencing? So that's the numbers. How much you influence them, and what's the influence of your network. So now again, we're talking about influence. So here, 90% of consumers trust peer recommendations and only 33% trust ads. And we know that that's absolutely true, because when we're referring things, I'm in the referral business, and how many of you will go to the movies based on your friend telling you that it was a great movie before anything else? So if somebody tells you, your peer tells you one thing, but we want to know. What they tell us, that's what's really important. If I'm going to go to a restaurant, especially a new restaurant, I want to know that somebody's telling me they've already been there and that restaurant's really great. So it's really important to me what somebody recommends, and social media is a great way to do that. So here, again, how many people, how much you influence, and the influence of your network. So that's really important. So your Klout score is measured on your online influence on a scale of 1 to 100. So with that said, here's a few of the ways they use it to measure your influence. Twitter, how many retweets and mentions? So we all know, it's all about being generous, right? Retweets and mentions. On Facebook, how many comments? Wall post likes. On LinkedIn, comments and likes. Foursquare, Google+, and actually right here, they're saying there that some of these, but they're already doing some of them already. We already are doing Facebook pages and WordPress, so we have already added those to them. But it is very important for you to know that all these things are coming into play in your Klout score that you don't even know you have. So here's mine, 68. And I have to tell you, for those of you who don't know, everybody's Klout score probably went down this last week. They changed the way they were doing it. So everybody had it because mine was 70 and I was really ticked that it went down below 70 right before I gave this presentation. But with that said, I want you to know. So you can be a person or you can be a brand. That's one of the things that you need to know. You can be a person or a brand. But here's the things that I want you to notice. So see here underneath my name up here where it says Twitter, Facebook, Google, and YouTube. So here's all the places where I am linked to this account. However, I have more than one Twitter account. So here's your first strategy. So your first strategy is if you have more than one account, you need to decide which accounts you're going to link. For example, on this one, I am connected to 15,000 people on Twitter. So I added this Twitter account. But I added Facebook to it, Google, and YouTube. I have another account as well, where my score is only 44. But you have to know you need to think about where is your reach, who are you influencing, and which accounts you want. So if you have, don't dump all your really big ones on one if you have more. You need to spread them out. So kind of balance them out. But also think about where is your reach. So kind of like how some people like to be contacted by text, some people love email, some people like phone calls. You also need to realize that in social media, that is exactly the same thing. Some people love Facebook, some people love Twitter, some people love LinkedIn, and there's hundreds of social media sites. But you need to first be able to decide that. So that's one of the first things you need to know. But that is very important. We're going to come back to that. So make sure you really notice that, because that's really, really important. The next thing I want you to notice here is where I'm talking about topics. So see over here it says influential about 14 topics, and it only shows 3. That's really important to know because it's telling you the 3 that I get hit for the most, the things that people give me plus K. And plus K is when somebody gives you kind of credit. It's sort of like, but better, when somebody gives you a Follow Friday shout out, or they kind of retweet you. They kind of recognize you a little bit, so it's kind of like that, but it's better. And the reason why it's better is because you have some control over it. You have no control over if somebody Follow Fridays you. You have no control over whether somebody retweets you. You have a little bit of control over these topics. And we're going to talk about that. So here is the 3 that I scored, on this one anyway, the highest of. But notice down here underneath, it's kind of hard to see, it'll say see more. That is the most important thing for you to notice there. Because what happens is when people come to your page, they're going to look at those, and you'll get hit the most for those because not everybody knows to hit that see more button. And that see more button is very, very important. And here's why. "14 topics. So now it talks about all the topics here that Klout says that are influential. Now, Klout will tell you the things that you're influential about, and it'll say that you're influential based on the things that people say about you too. So this talks about what you tweet about, what people retweet for you, what they mention. So for example, I have a friend here who does the Chocolate Blues Business Expos, and Klout says that she's influential about chocolate, and she's influential about blues. That's just the name of what her expo is, so really, she doesn't really want to be influential, because if somebody decides to come to her account and they want to give her plus K, does she really want them to give her plus K in chocolate? So the first thing you want to do on your Klout is always make sure you hit see all and look at your topics. Look and clean them out. Because I have seen, even a few people that are in here, I have seen their topics. I always go and check everybody's topics, and I'll see that they are, Klout says they're influential about motorcycles or something they don't even have anything to do with, but they tweeted about them. Enough about something that was happening. Maybe it was a client, or maybe it was their family. Emma?
The question I have, it goes back to what you said when you first started. You can be on Klout without being on Klout?
No, Klout gives you a score whether you're on Klout. It's scoring you already, whether you know it or not.
So if you, for example...
So if you went to Klout, www.klout.com, and you put in, sign in with Twitter, it's going to tell you what your score is. And you may not even be doing anything with it, but you do have a score.
Wow.
Is that like when I go on there and I see people that I influence or people who influence me, and it says, it'll list them in there, but it'll say invite to Klout?
Those are people that are not on Klout yet.
They're not on Klout yet, right?
And how you can tell
but
that
Klout still has them listed.
is great, yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's kind of important to know. Does that answer your question, Emma?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So what you want to do is right next to where you can't really see it, but next to those things, there's a little X there, and you can actually X the ones off that you don't. Here's what you want to ask yourself. When you're looking at your own topics, you have to ask yourself, how many did Klout put in because of something that you tweeted about? How many do you not want somebody to give you clout for? So like, what do you want to be known for? Where is your expertise? Where is your authority that you want people to give you plus K? If you give them all these choices and they're not choices that you want to be an expert for, well, they're gonna be, they don't know. They're just gonna get in and say, oh, I'm gonna give them this one and I'm gonna give them that one. And then you're all across the board and no authority. So it's really important for you to be able to guide them, and how you do that is by cleaning this out, and then see down here where it says you have, right here it says you have 10 plus K. Every time you sign into Klout, you automatically are gonna get 5 every time you come in. Up here next to Klout, up here at the very top, it'll tell you if anybody's giving you plus K. The more people who give you plus K, which is kind of like a shout out, and I'll show you how that happens in a second, the more points you get. You're only gonna get 10 a day though, so you know. So what happens here is, here's the most brilliant strategy and the most control you have. Those 10K get to be used for several things. And here's the most important strategy. A, you get to use those 10 plus K to give them away. You can give them to somebody else by saying, Rob, I think you are an expert on this, and I'm going to look at your topics, and I'm going to make you an expert on that, and I'm going to give you plus K for that. And that's going to take 1 point. Say, for example, you only have, and you'll see people that'll only have 2 or 3, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I'm looking in there, and it doesn't have the ones that I want to be an expert for. But guess what? It'll also let you purchase topics. Here's where you get to have the control. You can take 5 points and buy a topic. So if the topic you don't want to, the topic you want to be an expert on, or you are an expert on, if it's not there, buy it. 5 points.
It only takes 5 points?
5 a day. And up there in the top corner where it says add a topic, you click on that, it takes 5 plus K, and you can just pick topics. So this way, you're giving the option. So that gives you a lot more control. So you're kind of seeing how that really can help you there? So that helps a lot by letting you be able to choose what you want to be known for and to give them options. Gio's not here, and I have some really good thing about Gio here, but we'll have to see. So we're going to come back to that too. Next to the things here, you're going to see recent plus K of people who have given me plus K for certain things. Also up here next to the Klout at the top, there's a little button you can go down there, and it'll tell you everybody who has given you plus K. We're going to talk about the strategies of doing that, okay? So we're going to go on. Here's my second account. Howdy Farming Networking CEO, that's my radio show. Notice, wow, it was 44 yesterday. See, I told you our numbers are going down. So you'll see those here. So you notice here it says Twitter, LinkedIn, and Foursquare. Because I have more than one Twitter account, so I could have Twitter on both of them, but I couldn't have Facebook on this one because I have Facebook on my other one. And that's the one thing. It will only allow you to link your accounts to one Klout account. That's where you have to think of the strategy. Where does it best serve me? Which one of your Twitter accounts, if you have more than one, do you want to have the highest number? Do you want to be an expert in different things? Do you have 2 Twitter accounts because they're for 2 separate businesses? You have them because you're an expert in 2 different fields, so they're separate. So you need to think about the strategy for that and which one.
I'm sorry.
No, I want you.
Okay, now I have, for my company, like I have my Klout account. Mm-hmm. And then of course, because I have Twitter and Facebook for my company and my blog,
right.
I have Klout for them too.
And your dog's got Klout.
Oh, you're right, he's on there too.
Your dog's got Klout.
But my dog, my blog, and my company are all Facebook pages. Mm-hmm. But you can I attach them to my...
Yes, you can, but they don't rank as high. You won't get as much authority for that. You can do it though.
Okay.
And just so you know, all these things are done by going to your name at the very top, dropping, and going to settings, and it'll say connect to. That's how we do it. But pages don't. Now here's what I'm going to tell you. So see how on my other one I had my Facebook account? I could add my Facebook page to this one. I chose not to do it because my Facebook pages are actually linked to my other one, but I didn't want to move Facebook off because this says that I influence 727, and my other one says that I influence 15,000 people, and I want that one to say that. So the strategy for how it benefits my business is that. So that's where the strategy comes into. So here's the thing. So you notice here, I have 15 topics. The topics are different ones. So notice this says relationships and coaching. So it's a little bit different. And I have different things that are connected. So I run both my Klout accounts very, very differently for different reasons. And that's where kind of the strategy on that comes. Now, here's where another thing. So see on top of the 43 where it says plus K? That's where Klout itself, see the little blue plus K up there on top of the number? Everybody got that? Okay, so what that is, a lot of people don't even know what that is, but what that is that's Klout ranking you on where you fit with other people in those categories. So here's another strategy. So you need to think to yourself, if people go to my Klout and they see that and they click on that, what do I want them to think? What do I want to be known as? And here's the reason why. Now remember, this I only have a 43, the other one I'm 68. But look at this. You are a plus K influencer. That's what happens when you do it. It tells you what you're a plus K influencer on. It tells you. You didn't pick. It told you. But guess what? For me, I'm the #1 in the world in networking. I'm a national networking organization, and I'm only a 43 on this one. On the other one, I'm a 68.
That's a business SIC code too, business networking, right? Because it says industry networking.
Yes. Okay, so you have to know that when you're going here, you want to make sure that you are where you want to be influenced. So I had to choose. So I have a very strong strategy, networking CEO. It was really important to me. So I really want everybody to go to, if they're going to give me plus K, I really want them to give it to me in business networking. Or something that has to do with networking, even though I'm in the marketing business. I own a marketing company, but I own a networking company too. So for Patty Farmer, I really want people to do that. But do they know that? It's not like I get to write everybody a note and say, hey, 15,000 people on Twitter, if you're going to give me plus K, I really love that. This is where I really want to give it to you for. So you have to kind of ask yourself, what is that? But there's some strategies in how you control it, because remember when I told you about how you sometimes control those things? We're going to go back to the topics again. So you do control these things in the topics, influence, lists, all these things. So you do control them. This is where you need to ask yourself. So I want us to think about going back and thinking about what you do, what you want to be known for, and where your expertise lies. Now, the people who know you, they know. But again, you want to know who is influential about what. Okay, so say for example, here's where it's really going to get exciting. So say you're looking at these topics and you're thinking, social media, who's influential about that? That's a topic. Social media, what would that be? Who's Facebook, collaboration? And I have to tell you, see these ones that have these little names right here like this? This one, it doesn't have like the logo. That's because nobody made that up, I made that up. I teach collaborative strategy, that's what I did, so I bought that topic, but you notice here it's all the way down at the bottom. I bought that topic because I want everybody to give that to me, but you notice it's all the way down at the bottom? Because everybody else doesn't know I want them to do that. And here's what happens, if I don't keep my thing cleaned out, so I'm okay with them giving me Klout on any of those things, but you really need to think about what you want to do, so I make sure I keep mine cleaned out. So here's what we're going to do. So look at this right here. We picked social media, and I said, who would be on that topic the people are the most influencers? Mashable, Chris Brogan, and Mari Smith. I don't know about you, but I could have told them that without even having to look at that, right? Those are the 3 top influencers. So think about this in your business. If you wanted to know, if you're in this business, you wanted to know who your competition was, you may want to know because you want to learn about something, so you want to know, who's the best of the best? You just have to go to Klout and find the topic, and it's going to tell you who the best of the best is. But it's not just going to tell you that. Look at this. When you go here, I'm going to step in front of this here. Under Chris Brogan and Mari Smith, it also tells me how to connect to them. It tells me all the ways to find them. Not only that, it tells me other people who thought they were, and I can go and look at theirs and I can see who they did. So it tells me who the top influencers are, who they're influencing, who the top recipients were that did it on that subject, and I can actually look and see. So if I went to them and say I'd never heard of Chris Brogan before, I went to him and I said, Chris Brogan, oh, this guy's pretty sharp. I could click on the Twitter and the Facebook and it would take me to their accounts for me to connect to them, all in one place. Yes?
Do they have education on there?
Excuse me?
Do they have education on there?
Yes, actually, if you go here and go up there, there's all kinds of things for you to be able to read to do that.
Can you segment it at all, or is it just kind of a general?
It's kind of a general, but they don't have a lot.
Okay.
So here's where you want to know that. You want to be able to look and see who they're connected to. Now, here's another strategy. How many of you know that, have you ever seen the people on Twitter that they are following 150 people and 1,600,000 are following them? So what makes you think if you go here and follow Mashable that he's going to follow you back? Right? May not happen. However, if you come to Klout, you can actually go into Mashable and find out all the people he's connected to, and you can backdoor it. It's kind of like getting past the gatekeeper. So you can find out, well, who's all the people he thinks are influential? Who are all the people, what does he think? So we can go in and click on Mashable, and it'll tell you everything about what does he think. Over here on the side, and I'm going to click it in a second, it's going to tell you lists. You know how in Twitter we have lists? Okay. These lists are better because we get much more information. A Twitter list, okay, you can click on it on Twitter, but watch what happens now. The other thing that this tells us too is best content. And we all know content is king, right? You can actually click on this button here, content, and not only that, it'll tell you what all the content is. So if you want to know, I need to find information. The guy before you was telling us how all these different ways you can go out and find good content. How about you just go to Klout, find the people you know that are the most influential about that subject, and look and see what all the top content they're doing. Great place to find great content. I'm going to show you at the end, the last thing I'm going to show you is how to cheat at Klout. And this is going to be one of the ways you're going to be able to do it, okay? We'll get to that. So this I use social media because it's really easy and I know a lot of people are interested in that. But you could put in any topic because under there it'll say topics and you can put in any topic, find out who's influential about it, and more importantly, who they're connected to that's influential about it, who they think are influential about it, and all in one line how to connect with every one of them with a click of a button. Because we all know that just because you love Twitter, they may love Facebook. They may love LinkedIn. You don't know where it is their preferred method of what their favorite social media site is. So you can do this on Twitter, but Twitter just tells you Twitter. This tells you everywhere to find them. What a great source. So this tells you content. Anybody have any questions about that so far before we move on? Because I know that one's kind of a deep one. Okay, list. So I went in through some together. So here is a list. So what happens here is whenever you're connected to someone, there's a button that says add them to a list. You can make a list of whatever you want. Here's just a few of my lists. My lists are networking, CEO space, business leaders, BizLink Global, which is getting ready to do Klout Giver. So I put everybody who gives me Klout all the time, those plus K, I want to put in there. So if I only have 5 seconds on Klout, I know which ones to give them to. And groups and organizations. This one's business leaders. So I collected this. This is one of my lists. And these are people that I think are business leaders. Okay? So I don't know how many of you have heard of any of these people. I think a lot of you probably have. Unmarketing, that's Scott Stratton. He was here to speak not that long ago. Shelley Kramer. If you don't know who Shelley Kramer is, you should probably be following her. So here are the people. Here's their score. And again, everywhere to find them. The other thing that's really kind of good at it is go to your competition and look at what topics they did, because they might have made up a few too that maybe might be a topic that you're looking for a new topic. You might want to decide, oh, I like the way they did that. I'm going to be in that topic too. Now we're going to go back to strategy. Remember when I showed you that K at the top and how it had that little blue thing and where it said that you would get influenced about that? If somebody, okay, I made up that one collaboration because I liked it, right? Because that's what I do. I do collaboration strategy. So I made up that one. I gave myself that topic. So I might be really high in that topic. But as more and more people are looking at my site, or looking at my Klout and they're seeing it, they're like, whoo, and they make that topic too, and they're giving me a run for my money. But this is where you just have to know that you want to pay attention. Okay, business leaders. So here, this is what this says. So it tells you their score. It tells you what their social media, all the ways you can find them. It tells you something about them, their bio. So you get to read their bio so you know whether you want to follow them. And it goes over here and it tells you their top 3 things that they're ranked in. So you kind of get to know a little bit about them. So you can decide, so if I told you business leader, you could literally go to my Klout, click this list, go to business leaders, and then simply go click, 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 and say, well, I think Patty's pretty influential about that. And if she says that they're business leaders, well, I think they're business leaders too. So rather than having to go find all these influential people yourself, you can go find them. How does that work for your business? Figure out what you do, who are the people that you think are influential in what you do, and then go run their Klout. Because their Klout account is going to tell you everything you need to know about where they are, what they're doing, who they consider the people, and you probably should follow them too. That makes sense? Okay. So that's what that is here. So you have your list. Okay, so here I decided, I showed you my list and I just picked somebody there. Her name is Kim Garsh, so she's a social media guru. And so what I did is I clicked on her name and I said, I wonder what she has in her list. Who is the social media guru thinking that she has? So I clicked on her list and these are her lists. You can do social media inner circle, interesting. Empire Avenue tweets, social media Klout, and you can do social. And it tells you how many. I picked one that has 432 people to give you an example. And these are all the people she says, and I have to tell you, looking at this thing, except for Norma, I don't know any of them. And I was like, I wonder why she thinks they're so great. But I don't even have to go click on everyone and look at their page because I don't have to go to Twitter because it gives me their Twitter bio right there. So I can read it. So I can decide, do I think, no, she may think that doesn't really sound like somebody I want to follow. And I can look at their examples on the side of what they get Klout for and go, yes, no. But it kind of lets you know. You could go even further. I actually do follow Norma, she's a friend of mine. I could click on her and I go, wonder who she's influential about. And you get to see their number. They actually do it in their number order too. So you started getting the big picture here. So this is really some good strategies on how you can run your business. And I want you to know, you should be looking at Klout for the people you respect, the people you admire that you think are influential in your business, are influential in something you're interested in, influential your competition, and they're probably going to know somebody that if it's somebody that you can't get to them, maybe you've been following them and they haven't followed you back for whatever reason. But guess what? If all of a sudden you're connected to a lot of people, you can do a lot of different things. So now we're going to go back to that plus K thing, the strategy of the plus K. How many people have ever given somebody a Follow Friday because you hope they give you Follow Friday back? That's the sole purpose that you get it. Some of you might not admit it, but that's a strategy. Not a strategy I use, but I do know there are people that use that strategy. I actually don't even hardly do Follow Fridays anymore. I actually personally think that this whole Follow Friday and 15 names and whoever really clicks on those anymore, I really prefer to say, you should follow this person and this is why. I do the same thing when I give plus K. When you give plus K, every time you give plus K to somebody, it says, do you want to share this? And then it asks you, and it has a tweet button and a Facebook button. How many of you have ever seen in your news feed, whether on Twitter or Facebook, where you said, I have this much number and this person's an influencer and they gave me plus K and all those things? Okay, if somebody that you respect and you're following says, I gave plus K to Patty Farmer because she really knows marketing strategy, and you didn't know who I was, but you really respected them, would you follow me? Okay, so if you were trying to get somebody to follow you and they weren't following you, Tony actually called me on the phone on this. I always tweet Tony, and I always give him plus K, and I don't just say plus K, and one of his things on here is WordPress. I don't just say, click the button, and the automatic default will be Patty Farmer gave Tony Sakala plus K on WordPress. I don't just do that. You can go in and edit it. I go in there and say, Patty Farmer gave Tony Sakala plus K about WordPress because he has the largest WordPress meetup in the nation with over 1,000 members. Tony called me up, wow, Patty, that was really nice of you to do that. So tell people. So if somebody doesn't follow you back and you went and gave them plus K and said something really great about them, you think maybe they would then? So there's a couple different strategies of doing that. Some people will give people plus K if they retweet them. They'll look at their, you know how you can go to Twitter and look at Connect and you can go in there and they'll retweet everybody who has, they'll give plus K to everybody who's retweet them. It's kind of like, here's your cookie, right, you know? Or follow Friday. So they'll do that. So that's kind of a strategy that you might want to be able to use because you're telling them why. Here's the thing. Every time you give somebody plus K, every one of your followers, if you click that button, gets to know about it. If you say you want to put that on Facebook, all of your Facebook friends are seeing it too. But not only that. When somebody gives you plus K, it asks you, do you want to tell everybody? So then you get to go and post and say, guess what? Such and such gave me plus K. Like sometimes people will give me plus K about a couple things, and I'll get to go in and say, they gave me plus K about this and this and this. Thank you so much. And people are like, wow. And I can put it on my Facebook page so that my 5,000 people can see, this person said I was really great at marketing. Or this person said I was really good at this. So there's some really good strategies about how you can use Klout. It is so much more than just another social media platform. Okay. So now we're going to go back here again. And so I really want you to make sure that you're looking at the 10 down here. So you only have 10. So you got to kind of think about how you're going to use 10, but you have 10 every day. So you want to think about how do I want to give them out? So I tell people all the time, make sure you do it every day. It takes 2 seconds.
I'm sorry, just as far as the clouds, when you get 10 every day, can you let them build up so you have like 30? Or that's all you get?
Every day.
So if you don't use them, you lose them?
Yep.
Okay.
So guess what? And here's another thing that's kind of exciting. You can give plus K to yourself on another account. Think that might be a strategy? So now, if you do give yourself plus K, it's a great strategy. I wouldn't tweet though and say, do you want to tell everybody you did it though? I wouldn't hit that button. That's not a button I would hit. I kind of let that one not be there. But you can't do it. You can, it's a good way. Here's when it's a good way to be able to sometimes do things, is when you want to let people know. Now, when you buy a topic for yourself, that's also a good way to be able to tweet that out and say, I just bought this new topic, because now you're letting people know that, hey, if you purchase that topic, you probably want plus K for that, and that's a good way to do that. The other thing that you want to know about giving plus K to people is that when somebody considers you an influencer, there's a button, not only that they add you to a list. So if they create a list and they add you to a list, there's a button that they can say, do you want to tell everybody that you added you to a list? And if they added you to a list, and somebody added me to a list that said, top-notch marketing strategies, you think I want the 5,000 people on Facebook to know that they added me to that list? Of course I do. You get to decide to tell Facebook and Twitter that. So you get to decide those things, and you get to decide when you want to do them too. So of course you want to do them. Emma?
Now, some people have, like he was saying, multiple Facebook pages.
Right.
I have my business page, and then there's the personal page.
You're going to get higher clout for your personal page. You will get higher clout because you probably have more people on it as well. So it is going to. If you have one Twitter, if you have more than one Twitter, you have a real high Twitter, and then you have really high Facebook, you could either decide you want to dump those ones on one and really have a high score and then put everything else on your other, or you may decide to put one on one and one on the other and then kind of see. And guess what? You can just click and see how that changes your number in 24 hours and then go back and change it again if it's not what you wanted it to do.
Now, my personal page has nothing to do with business. But
That doesn't care. It does affect who you influence, what your reach is, how many people think you're influential. If you get a Klout score without you doing anything, of course your personal one matters. It's not going to look at your business one unless you link it though, so you know. Okay, so does that make sense there?
So let me make sure.
Okay, that's okay. Keep asking.
So my Klout score is based upon my personal page? And
Your Klout score is based on what you tweet and what you're connected to, where people mention you. It pulls from all your social media, but not your business ones because you have to link them. Did that answer your question?
That's what I'm trying to figure out too. Yeah.
Okay. Here's the strategy. Look at this. This business, attendees must have a score of 40 or higher to enter that event. Now, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I have to have that. Now get this, the guest with the highest Klout score will receive a $500 gift card from those shops. Klout started to be very important. Really, attendees must have a score of 40 or higher to be granted entry. Crazy. So you kind of want to have, there's a strategy. So you got to kind of be thinking, Klout's here. I know there's a lot of people like, Klout sucks. I don't really love Klout. Yeah, but you're getting scored no matter what, so you might as well make it work for you. It is a social media platform that gives you so much control. So much control and the ability to utilize a strategy, and that's what it's all about. So I'm going to tell you, I get on Klout every day on all my accounts, and it takes me 10 minutes, and I give out plus K every single day. Every single day, because I know that I'm not going to have them the next day. So if I get to do it every day, I'm giving them out every day. Because guess what? When I give them out, most of those people are going to click that button that says, yes, tweet that Patty Farmer gave me whatever, and that gives me exposure. So you want to do it. So this is when you want to be generous.
5 minutes.
Okay, let's get to how to cheat. How to cheat. Okay, tweet more often. You get higher Klout if you tweet more often. So I know a lot of the strategies, I tweet this many times a day. Tweet more often and your Klout score will go up. Specialize. Now, you'd only want to do this if you were trying to get your Klout score, okay? Tweet and post about just one or two different topics. So in other words, if you were trying to get your Klout score higher for whatever reason, or it's not as high as you want it, and you do it for about a week or two, don't do the whole masses tweet about everything. Pick a couple things that you want them to recognize that you're an expert on and only tweet about those things. Really dig in deep and just tweet about those things, and that will help your score go up. Third thing, follow the crowd. So when you see that content is king thing that we were talking about, that's popular, it's trending, tweet about those things. Because it sees that you're following the trend, you're up on what's going on, it likes that. So those are the things that help it. And then suck up. I start to love that. Cultivate online relations with people who have a higher Klout score than you do. So, but you want to have those be with people that you're going to build a relationship. So the key word there is cultivate online relationships. Okay, so you're going to want to cultivate those relationships with people who have a higher Klout score, and that way you build a relationship with them, start thinking about giving them plus K when it's appropriate, think of a strategy, be authentic and real, and you will find that these things will help your Klout score to go up. So, does anybody have any questions? I know I only have a few minutes, so I know that was a lot of information. So, but just so that you guys know, I'm going to be doing a webinar on this thing. So, I didn't put my Twitter ID on there. It's Patty Farmer, Patty Farmer, or Networking CEO. Those are my Twitter things, and you can find me everywhere under Patty Farmer. But I am going to be doing a webinar on this, and you'll all get the slides and all that stuff.
As far as the topics, I edited my topics to 3 of them. And I didn't know about buying the topic. Can you rearrange them at all, or?
No, because those are your topics. They are all done by high, medium, and low, how often you're given them.
And that was my next question is is there a way to know how many plus Ks that you got?
Oh, absolutely.
And how many it'll take to beat?
Not how many it'll take, because it's in comparison to other people.
That's the thing. I always wonder, like, okay, well, these guys are the top 10.
Right.
How do I get up to there? How many do I?
Here's the best way to do that. The strategy doing that is if you have, and Lisa knows how to do this, but if you have a group of people, you might want to send out a DM or send them a message and say, hey guys, I'm really trying to get my Klout topic to go higher in this. Could you guys all give me plus K and do it in this topic? Just ask people to, hey, could you do it in this topic? I'm trying to, whatever. So sometimes it's good to have a lot of topics. Sometimes it's good to just have 5 or 6. But here's the one bad thing that'll happen if you don't have very many. I will just tell you that. If you don't have very many, once somebody has already given you it grays that out until the next day. You don't want to have so few that someone goes to decide to give you Klout and they can't give you Klout because you don't have any available. So I would say at least keep like 8.
I would think.
Okay, repeat that one more time slowly.
What'd you say?
Repeat that one more time slowly.
Sometimes when you go, if you have already given somebody Klout, not like anybody else. So like for example, if somebody tends to give you Klout every day, so you go give them Klout every day, you'll go there and yesterday you gave it to them about this topic, it's probably grayed out and not going to let you give them that same thing that day. So you have to pick something different. So make sure that you have enough topics, because you don't ever want somebody to want to come and give you plus K and they can't because you don't have enough available, so you kind of want to be thinking about that. So we probably have time for 1 or 2 more questions. So anybody else have a question?
One question.
You do?
No, I said one question.
Oh, okay. Any other question?
Oh, I
Okay.
think I remembered what I was going to ask.
Okay.
So if somebody that's a leader isn't on Klout yet, that you want to know and you want to find out what makes them,
Influential.
well-known and influential, can you do that even though they don't access their Klout? Can you look them up?
I have a lot of people on my list at the very bottom who don't have a really high number, and the little Klout symbol will be kind of gray because they're not on Klout, and it'll say invite them to Klout, and you can just invite them to Klout. And some people do, but they're like, I don't want to do another thing, and they don't. But you can invite them, and if you do invite them, that increases your reach because you were the one that brought them, so that amplifies your voice. But I will tell you, as a strategy, they do have this button that says invite all your friends on Facebook, and then 2,000 people are going to get off. And how many of you get those notifications? I got this notification, I got this, I got this, I got this. That's kind of like sending everybody those million
That was my problem, is that when I sent that out, I sent it out, I have maybe 2,000 friends on Facebook.
I hate
And I sent it out to everybody,
But people
and
don't know.
everybody said, oh, I'd love to do it, but it's like sending someone a poker request or something. They think it's another.
I turn my notifications off because I don't want those notifications.
So you
if
say
you're
not
going
to,
to do
right?
it, I'm saying don't blanket.
Right, I got it.
Hand select
Right.
people. And if you're going to hand select the ones that are going to think that you're influential about things you want to be influential.
Reach out to them another way.
Right, that's right.
I
Or
think
reach to another way.
That's it.
I don't think that answered the question. She said,
Oh, I'm sorry.
can you see if they're not on Klout and you type in their name, for example, I'm not on Klout, but if you type in my name or my business name and there is something there, can you see something
No,
about
if I go and I type in your name and you type in the search box the Twitter name, by the way.
Okay.
If you go in there and you type in their Twitter handle, it will say, we don't have anything for that.
Okay.
But if you do it, because it's you, it will come up. And it'll tell you what the Klout score is.
Alrighty, that's
Okay.
it. Thank you. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this week's session. Make sure to come back next week for another video from the Emerging Tech Conference. If you like what Pickle TV is doing, I would ask you to consider dilldomains.com the next time you buy a domain name or website hosting. Dilldomains.com is my daddy's GoDaddy reseller account, plain and simple. So if you like GoDaddy, or if you use GoDaddy, please consider using Dill Domains instead. In other words, buy your GoDaddy stuff from my daddy. Well, that's all for today. So until next week, this is your host, Amanda Kowski, saying goodbye and thanks for watching.